Welcome to the Lions of Crypto, where we show you 100 times gems.
I have advice to depack UST and Luna completely and turn these two coins to be like a meme coin.
How many of these companies you think are entering the space just because it's hot and there's a lot of funding versus the ones that will still be here, like 2 to 5 years later?
95% are going to die.
Yeah.
95% are going to die. Yeah. There's also entertainment in watching companies die too.
So why not we just turn to like a meme coin, just like Shiba or Doggy coin?
There's entertainment. Oh man, that's so evil.
1 hour later.
We pulled the trigger and 24 hours were gone.
Master of stablecoin.
At the end of 2021, a decentralized cryptocurrency called Terra Luna emerged and seemed to succeed where most cryptocurrencies failed. It attracted serious attention from some of the most highly respected investors in the crypto sphere. Luna was an ecosystem consisting of 3 Ponzi coins: Terra, a stablecoin; Anchor Protocol, which paid 20% per year for staking UST; and Luna token, which was used as collateral. It appeared to be a low-risk investment that promised a substantial yield. In the beginning, Terra Luna looked like exactly what investors were hoping for. By April 2, 2022, while the rest of the crypto market was crashing, Luna hit its all-time high at $119.
This Ponzi scheme is a bit different than the other ones.
Algorithmic and Ponzi Tokenomics at its best. Some of the biggest crypto influencers were talking about it, feeling confident that if a crypto winter were to come, they would be safe with 20% interest on their UST stablecoin. Luna's biggest investors included Lightspeed Venture Partners, Galaxy Digital, and even Binance. Billionaire Mike Novogratz, and partner at Goldman Sachs, had so much faith in the currency that he even got a Luna tattoo on his arm. Things were looking good for Luna and its investors. Like so many investments that seem great at first, Luna was, of course, a massive scam, and it was only a matter of time before it would fall apart, leaving many unfortunate people with little to show for their supposedly foolproof investments. Luna quickly fell from $100 to just 27 cents, essentially a 100% loss. The crash wiped out approximately
$40 billion.
And as of today, UST has fallen from its $1 peg to only 20 cents, and it is quickly approaching zero. What could have possibly gone wrong? Why did so many smart investors pour billions into Luna only to lose everything they had? And who were the criminals behind the crash? Before we go any further, it might help to know a little more about Terraform Labs founder Do Kwon. Kwon Do-hyung, better known as Do Kwon, called himself the master of stablecoin. The South Korean cryptocurrency developer co-founded and became the CEO of the Singapore-based corporation Terraform Labs. Terraform Labs was the unlicensed company behind Terra blockchain, which featured the stablecoin Terra USD, UST, and the network token Luna, Luna, as well as the Anchor Protocol. Born in 1991, Kwon attended Taiwan Foreign Language High School and studied computer science at Stanford University until his graduation in 2015. He began working as an engineer for Apple and Microsoft, but he had bigger plans. He didn't want to be one small part of a major tech company. He wanted to form one of his own. After spending only 3 months at each of these companies, he would return to South Korea in September 2015 to start his own big tech company and become a tech giant himself. The result was Terraform Labs, and Do Kwon successfully convinced a number of notable investors to pour billions into his venture. Former Terra employees have also claimed that Kwon was the founder of yet another failed stablecoin project called Basis Cash, which gleaned its inspiration from an Ethereum-based token called Basis, formerly Basecoin. Basis, which was created by Nader Al-Naji, raised a large sum of money from venture capitalists. As a result of U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) concerns, Al-Naji eventually shut Basis down and returned his investors' money. As an attempt to skirt around SEC regulations, Do Kwon allegedly formed Basis Cash, but the enterprise proved unsuccessful. Following the failure of Basis Cash, the charming Do Kwon went on to start Luna, a project which he claimed was achieving mass adoption in Korea and rapidly expanding across the world. Terra wanted to revolutionize the financial system by removing a centralized entity to print money and making it easier for average people to transact with each other and earn interest with their hard-earned money across international borders. Even better, it offered a way for people to earn a 20% yield on their stablecoin staking, which were pegged to the value of the US dollar. 20% returns was no risk, a better deal than Bernie Madoff offered, but in a decentralized manner. Instead, Kwon seemed to see himself as something of an untouchable revolutionary who had come to liberate the world of finance with the promise of a decentralized trading system. Unfortunately for his investors, he promised much more than he could deliver. Kwon's faith in Luna and his own infallibility was so strong that he even named his daughter Luna after the cryptocurrency, announcing her birth in April 2022 with a tweet reading, "My dearest creation named after my greatest invention." It was clear that he believed in his business, and perhaps this confidence is part of what inspired so many people to invest in him. Do Kwon was also an unstoppable lover of trash talking, and his strong, arrogant personality was well known among his colleagues. A Twitter user by the name of Freddie Reynolds foresaw the eventual collapse of Luna and warned Do Kwon several times about the possibility of a Luna and UST crash. But Kwon refused to accept any criticism of his creation. He called Reynolds' prediction probably the most retarded thread I've read this decade. So what were those warnings about? What did Freddie and other critics know about Luna that Do Kwon and his investors couldn't see? And how were so many high-profile investors fooled? To answer these questions, we first need to take a look at the principles behind the Terraform Labs blockchain. The system seems to operate primarily on the idea of balance, and it includes two coins which are designed to support each other. These are Terra, which represents the Earth, and Luna, which represents the Moon. A third coin, the Anchor Protocol, is meant to encourage investors. Terra is a stablecoin designed to keep the system grounded. This means that Terra is pegged to the US dollar. As long as one Terra coin is equal to $1 US, each coin can be redeemed for $1, and it costs $1 to buy a coin. But this only works as long as the price stays at $1. Kwon wanted to free his investors from the traditional market, so he set out to design a system that wouldn't tie them too closely to it. This is where Luna comes in. Luna's purpose is to mitigate Terra's flux if it diverges from the value of the US dollar. If Terra is trading below $1, investors could buy it for $1 of Luna. If Terra is trading above $1, investors could buy $1 of Luna and exchange it for 1 Terra coin. This incentivizes investors to trade in whichever direction stabilizes Terra and keeps it pegged to the US dollar. The most important thing is to keep the demand for Terra as high as possible, and Terraform Labs did this successfully at first by offering a 20% return on all investments using the Anchor Protocol coin. The purpose of the Anchor Protocol was to reward investors rather than losing their savings to inflation in traditional banks. Investors have the opportunity to yield a 20% return on all deposits, a rate that keeps them well ahead of the curve. Here is how it works. Borrowers post Luna or another form of cryptocurrency as a collateral, and they receive a loan in the form of Terracoin. Lenders receive 20% interest on all loans they make. Essentially, they are being paid to lend. Meanwhile, the Anchor Protocol protects borrowers from having to pay back expensive loans at these exorbitantly high interest rates. Anchor coins are worth more than 20% interest rates they owe, so they too seem to be making money off their loans. While this system may seem complex and unusual, there is nothing obviously wrong with it at first glance, and the possibility of gaining a 20% yield is tempting until you realize how susceptible to inflation the currency is when the price of Luna is low. For instance, right now Luna is so worthless that it takes about 10,000 coins to equal 1 Terra. This is what investors didn't realize until it was too late. The 20% return on their deposit made Luna seem like a low-risk, high-reward opportunity. Even billionaires like Mike Novogratz fell for it, and a slew of other excited investors were soon to follow. The 20% yield that had made it so appealing proved to be its downfall. Because the investment seemed to offer such high returns, much of the cryptosphere was willing to overlook its flaws. It began to grow too rapidly to keep up with itself. High-profile investors were putting large amounts of money into the system and seemed to be reaping great rewards. In April 2022, the system was valued at $45 billion, and each Luna coin was worth more than $100. At its height, the company was paying around $7 million in interest every day, numbers that were far too high to be sustainable. Kwon made another error when he decided to allow people to withdraw their deposits anytime they wanted to. Luna's rapid growth meant Terraform Labs could see massive amounts of money being withdrawn all at once, and it was impossible for the company to keep up. Like so many attractive investments, Luna was simply too good to be true. Luna was not a stable currency, and Quan was not a stable person. His arrogance and unprofessional attitudes eventually destroyed the company altogether. Among his colleagues, Quan was known as a bit of a bully, frequently verbally abusing the staff at Terraform Labs. His erratic behavior scared a number of his core advisors away from the company, leaving him to make important decisions by himself. So it's not surprising he made so many fatal errors and proved unable to maintain the system. Still, as April 2022 rolled around, Luna seemed to be sustaining itself remarkably well, even as the rest of the crypto market collapsed. It was valued at $45 billion, and each Luna coin was worth more than $100. Little did the investors know, the inevitable was about to happen. The world was about to see the largest and most rapid crash of a major crypto project in history. It isn't known who orchestrated the attack on the Luna system, but it's been theorized that it was a small group of individuals, possibly even a single person, launching a major attack to destroy Luna altogether. They appear to have used Bitcoin to purchase a huge amount of Terra coin and then dumped it onto the market, effectively lowering the price of both Terra and Luna. Suddenly, neither of the coins were pegged to the US dollar. Their values were decreasing practically by the second. Despite its best efforts, the Terra Luna system was unable to restore stability, even with a $1.5 billion emergency loan, and masses of panicked investors rushed to withdraw their money before they could suffer any more loss. As of today, Terra and Luna both are practically worthless. Neither was successfully able to stay pegged to the US dollar. Quan's dream of creating a stable and decentralized crypto economy based on principles of balance and equilibrium proved to be beyond his capabilities. The crash has left the world reeling and destroyed the assets of many powerful investors. Large-scale crashes like Luna's, coupled with the substantial decrease in the value of Bitcoin, do not bode well for the future of cryptocurrency, and analysts currently predict that we are on the brink of a major crypto winter, perhaps one that will last for years. With approximately 200,000 domestic Luna investors harmed by the crash, groups of Korean investors announced that they would file a class action lawsuit against Quan on criminal charges. As of May 24th, more than 2,000 investors have joined the lawsuit, with domestic law firms LKB and Partners LLC and Kisung LLC.
We burn all of our assets, we cut all of our ties, and it's nothing.
Check out our links in the description and give us a like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Thanks for watching.